welcome to Theater Thursday. We're coming at you from Knoxville, Tennessee, the native land of the Yuchi, Muskogee Creek, and Cherokee Nations. My name is Brady Moldrup. I graduated from the University of Tennessee in 2019, and I played D. Vicious in this production of Airness. Now, today we're going to be talking about Airness, and we're joined by three of our lovely designers, Carrie, Bill, and John. Welcome, Carrie, Bill, and John.
Thank you, Brady. Thank you for having us.
Yes, thank you. Glad to be here.
Of course. So, Carrie, we're going to kick things off with you. Carrie was our scenic designer. Carrie, tell us about some of the specific challenges that you faced when designing the set for Airness.
Yeah, of course. So Airness really follows this kind of traveling circus of air guitar. So we go to all these different cities in all these different bars, and we end with a big number. For the finale, it is like a concert. So we're covering a lot of ground here, and we're in different locations within bars, even in different scenes. So there's a real challenge working in the lab theater that is inherently a very small space. It's inherently a low-tech space, and we usually don't have very many crew for lab productions. So figuring out how we represent all of those locations was a bit of a challenge. And what we ended up doing was kind of creating a generic bar look with different locations all represented on stage. So a bar area, the stage itself, and a green room. And then using little things, we can represent what location, what city we're in for each scene. So we change out things like the taps and do local beers for that city, and different. We change out posters that represent bands from each city. And finally, we have a projection of a logo for the air guitar competition from that city that I designed as a projection designer as well. That was projected on the back wall for each location. Once we move into the finale, we are just bringing in a few pieces that are kind of rolling on that really heighten the production value. And again, using projections, we're able to really create this concert feel for that final scene. So there are a lot of challenges, but I think that they make the production really, really fun and really, really interesting to watch.
They are very fun and interesting. That finale, you're so true. What you said was so true. It's just a couple set pieces, and all of a sudden, it's like we're in someplace we've never been. It's pretty incredible. Bill was our lighting designer. Bill, tell us about how you tell a story, this story specifically, through light.
Yeah. So one of the major questions of the play is, what is airness? And it's sort of this ethereal thing that exists in the air guitar world that, it's not something you do, it's something you achieve. And so one of our big goals, especially through the lighting design, was to show the audience how close our performers were to achieving airness. So not only showing, what the rock concert in their persona's head looks like, but also how close to airness are they? And adding more of our flash and trash elements, the moving lights and color effects as we go through the play to really show how our arc of airness is throughout the piece.
Bill, I would say that with your lights, you yourself may have achieved airness. I mean,
you certainly see better with them, so
so it works. John, this show's all about rock and roll, right? And
Absolutely.
You took a lot of inspiration from real rock legends. Tell us a little bit about this with your costume design.
Yeah, for sure. So this show was such an incredible joy to design. It really sparked a lot of fun, interesting moments that I could put in the design. I think overall, the whole idea and the whole concept of the show is letting go and finding airness. And each of our performers seek to find airness, and they take a lot of inspiration from rock and roll legends in the songs that they choose to perform with. So I took a lot of inspiration from those specific rock legends, some mentioned in the script, some not. And that sort of evolved into these really incredible rock and roll rock star designs that really helped showcase them trying to achieve airness. And, one interesting one that was my favorite, perhaps my favorite one, was turning you into D Vicious, taking a lot of inspiration from Axl Rose and Bret Michaels and all those sort of like really gritty rock stars. Yeah. And sort of have that ex-boyfriend arrogant look to them, and really honing in on the 70s and 80s kind of evolved into all of that. So it was exciting.
The costumes are killer.
Thank you.
And you designed the costumes for the stage, but then, and we were going to be on the stage, but all of a sudden we had to take the production digitally and shove it all into a computer. What were some of the challenges, John, that you faced in taking your initial designs and putting them, moving them to the digital medium?
Absolutely. So this show was not originally designed to be streaming or online. It was designed for stage. And I think something that, like, the biggest issue I had was working with the green screen materials that we used in our streaming services, essential to tell our story of our dialogue scenes and sort of put our characters in the set with the green screen background. And we had to make a lot of adjustments because the costumes themselves kept blowing up, as they would say, in the green screen, meaning there was a lot of like erratic colors and weirdness happening with the recordings and the streaming. So I had to take a lot of clothes and paint into them and sort of eradicate all of those negative colors. So a lot of the blues and a lot of the greens that were in the clothes, a lot of band tees had to be painted in, and a lot of adjustments were made. So that was an interesting challenge that is an interesting way to learn how to work in film and in streaming.
I remember there was at one point, Jordan Gatton Bumpus was even told to grab an orange Sharpie off of his desk and color in one of the patches at home in real time.
Yep, one of those patches.
It's quick fixes.
Yeah.
Carrie, what about you going digital? What were some of the challenges that you faced?
Yeah, so as set designer, John was just talking about green screen and how we use those behind y'all for our book scenes, which were filmed on StreamYard. And my job beyond, like, as a set designer is really so that the audience knows where we are and what world we're in. So I kind of took charge of designing the digital backgrounds. So most of them are pictures of the set that we kind of decided, what exactly for each scene are we wanting to show of the set? What do we want to focus on? That kind of stuff. So that was part of what I had to kind of do as set designer. And then as projection designer, that kind of took on a whole new challenge because light is perceived differently on camera versus in person. And projections are all light. So I ended up having to really do some bargaining with Bill to hopefully be able to, see our projections and get the lighting design right and have it all show up right on camera. All different things that I'd never had to do before. So I really had a lot of fun with it.
Bill, you were just called out. What were some of the challenges you faced taking your lights and putting them into a computer?
Yeah, it's exactly like Carrie said. What you see is going to be different than what the camera sees, and so it was a lot of balancing what we were seeing in the room versus what was popping up on the monitor. So there was a lot of adjustment there, and then such a big part of this show is helping the audience connect to these performances, and it was sort of a bit of a blessing in disguise because without an audience there, we were allowed to use haze, which was a big part of the show, and it really allowed us to kind of crank everything up to 11 because we needed to go bigger because it allowed our audience to connect with it more and to see more. And then sort of the other part of it was all of the StreamYard stuff, which was very new for us. So it was a lot of balancing, making sure that the performer was lit, the costume was lit properly, and that the green screen was lit properly, so that all three things kind of played together well.
And you're coaching us all through how we need to light ourselves too, and that's a whole other level of, I don't envy you, but you killed it. It was great.
Far more directing than I've ever
fire.
had to do.
Yeah, totally. You did a wonderful job. Rapid fire question, really quick. Everyone's favorite part of the show. Go for it.
I love designing the projection sequence for the final song. It was so much fun and a real rock and roll moment.
You know, as a lighting designer, anytime you can crank out some flash and trash, it's a good day. So
for me, it was turning just normal, regular college people into kick-ass rock stars.
And for me, going off of you, John, I think it was my wig. I hated that wig at first, but then I fell in love with the wig by the end of it. I don't feel like me without the wig anymore. Thank you all for joining us for your Theater Thursday. Stay tuned for the rest of the month for some more exposés on Airness. And be sure to catch the show April 8th through the 17th. You can get more information at clarencebrowntheater.com. Designers, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having us, Brady.
Yeah.
Of course. And we'll see you next time.